Well, hello everybody and everybody. Hello. Happy Thanksgiving. My phone is a little wobbly. Please forgive me. I'm trying to get it steady, y'all. So, we're making some collard greens. Y'all see the name of the title. It's the collard green tutorial. So, for starters, I have a smoked turkey wing. And I usually only use ham hocks, but because I couldn't find ham hocks at the store, this is all they had. And so I was like, I'm not gonna be able to make all these collard greens with this one. So went back to the store and found ham hocks. So yes, I'm going to use a mixture of ham hocks and this turkey wing because honestly, I can't think of nothing else that I could use the turkey wing for right now, and I don't want it to go to waste. So let's get started on our greens. I'm going to go ahead and start walking you through that process while we go ahead and start washing our greens. So let's get it started, y'all. Woohoo! So I always start out by washing each green front and back individually before I put it in the salt bath. I usually use about 2 to 3 tablespoons of salt, and I just give it a nice bath. And then sometimes you'll see bugs come up from the side. Sometimes, not all the time. I just do this out of precaution. So my sink is pretty full because I have a lot, and so I'll probably move them around. I usually soak mine for about 3 to 4 hours. It's your preference. And then I'm going to give it another rinse so that way I can make sure I rinse all the salt off. Okay, so for starters, what I'm going to do is I'm going to break the stem. I like a little texture to my greens, so I usually keep this little rib right here. But I do take the main stem off, crack it, and then I roll the collard green up just like so. Roll it on up. All right, y'all, so I got some liquid gold. I reserved some bacon grease, and you see little spots in it. That's just from the bacon. It ain't gonna hurt nothing. So I'm gonna say this is about 2, maybe 2.5 tablespoons of bacon grease. So I'm gonna go ahead and get my meat opened up by sauteing it in there. So let's get this party started. So I have a fairly large pot just because I'm making so many greens, and I'm gonna go ahead and let this get hot, and we're gonna go ahead and start sauteing our meat. So I'm going to go ahead and start covering my smoked meat. So I am going to use this seasoning, which is badia collard green seasoning. And I'm also going to use some garlic powder, some onion powder, the normal staples, some chili flakes. I am going to use some apple cider vinegar and some white sugar. I always season my water so that way it can already be seasoned before I put the collard greens in. So I'm going to go ahead and start off with my powders, my onion powder and my garlic powder. I usually just eyeball the chili flakes. If you don't like spice, you don't have to put chili flakes in your greens. We tend to like a little spice. And honestly, it gets mellow if I add it to the water before I add it to the greens. Like whenever I'm cooking my smoked meat. But I tell you what, I used to use chicken stock, and I stopped because this badia collard green seasoning is so salty. I don't want to over salt my greens. You can add too, but you can't take away. So once you done got this nice beautiful pot of greens, if you mess that up, you can't really go back. I've done it before, and so I like mine to be real mellow, and I'm just like, you know what, I'll add to it as I go. So with the badia collard green seasoning, I'm probably going to just add about 1.5 tablespoons. Actually, I might just start with 1 tablespoon of this and, you know, make it do what it do, because this stuff goes a long way. I tell you what, I mean a long way. So you don't want to overdo it with this. Now I'm going to add about 2 tablespoons of sugar. And again, you don't want to overdo it with this either. With the sugar, I only use the sugar to balance out the apple cider vinegar, because I don't really like tangy greens. I like it like just right in the middle. And so I'm gonna put about 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar, and then I'm gonna cover these bad boys, and I'm gonna let them cook, like I said, 3 or 4 hours. I will be checking them in between just to make sure that the water doesn't go below my smoked meat. You don't want the water to go below the smoked meat. I just keep it tapered right at the top of my smoked meat. And I don't need too much, because the greens produce water, and the last thing you want is to have a whole bunch of water or too much water, and then, you know, it just be overkill. And so I like to keep it right at the top of my smoked meat, and then I just check it every hour or two. Okay, so we'll be back. So our ham hocks has been cooking, or ham hocks and our turkey rather has been cooking for a while. So now I'm going to just shred our meat down and get ready to start loading our collard greens up. So I'm going to go ahead and cut up this half an onion here. You can feel free to use a whole onion. That is totally your preference. I just don't think I need, but so much I like the flavor of the onion in my greens and not necessarily the onion. So let me rinse this off. Alright, so I got all my meat shredded. Now I'm going to add it back to my pot. Be careful with this part because it is hot. You want to make sure you add the juice and all. Get that nice and stirred up. Now I'm going to start adding my greens. I probably will need to add just a tad bit more water, but I'm going to wait until after I get all my greens that I'm going to cook in here before I make that decision. Now I use this little handy dandy wire rack to put my greens in. It's just easier. Do it however you need to. This is just what I do. I don't be wanting to get splashed. So greens do cook down just like cabbage, so give it a minute. You want to add, stir, add, stir. Now that I have a good bit of greens in here, I'm gonna go ahead and add my onion. Get that nice and mixed up. So that way the onion will be all throughout the greens. Alright, so now we have our greens packed in here. I'm not going to add anything until the greens actually start cooking. Y'all see how I added all of those greens in there and now the water is kind of sort of covering. I did add a cup of water and I'm going to keep it at that because greens produces water. So I'm going to cover this up and I'm probably going to stir this every hour until they're to my desired consistency. Alright, so the greens are officially done and I'm just adding 1/4 cup of olive oil, and I like to let my greens set for about an hour before I actually dig in. The olive oil, I honestly don't know what it's for. My grandma always told me to add 1/4 cup of olive oil when I get done cooking my greens, and so I'm gonna let them sit and we're gonna come back. I'm gonna show you the finished product. Alright guys, this is our finished products. They are so tender and so flavorful, man. Let's give it a bite. Alright y'all, so I'm gonna give it a bite and I want to make sure I have it with the meat in there. Man. It's bomb, y'all. I really hope that y'all enjoyed this collard green tutorial. I really wanted to go in detail so that way I can give you guys all the ins and outs of how I do my greens. Feel free to, you know, add to or take away. It's totally up to your discretion. But the basis of mine is definitely opening up that smoked meat. I know some people don't eat meat. You just have to use whatever it is you use. But you can use the same basics. So hopefully you guys enjoyed it. I love you guys. And until next time, peace out.